Ladies and gentlemen, it is finally happening. Yes, pitchers and catchers has returned, and we got some pretty good nuggets today from a media availability from Rob Thomson and Dave Dombrowski. We're going to get into all of that here on the newest episode of Phillies Digest. But before we do that, I do want to remind you that if you guys are tuning into this video and you are not already subscribed, 76.6% of our watchers and viewers are not subscribed to the channel. So if you are watching and do enjoy our Phillies content, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. But yes, pitchers and catchers is back. The team had their first official workout today. We got videos of Jesus Luzardo throwing around a football with Andrew Painter. Aaron Nola cut his hair. Nature is healing. We are finally getting back. Baseball season is here. But some of the big things from today, Rob Thomson and Dave Dombrowski did meet with the media this morning and had some things to say in regards to some of the guys. So this is from Corey Seidman of NBC Sports Philadelphia. This is Jesus Luzardo speaking. He said, "I'm right on track to have a normal spring training. I've been probably throwing a bit more just based off of last year to get back all the way, but I'm on track for a normal spring training for me." He goes on to say, "I've gone through the ringer of exams. I've had a lot of exams. They checked me up and down, and everything checked out. The arm and back all feels healthy, looking to keep it that way." We then moved to Jordan Romano, one of the other new signings for the Phillies, specifically in the bullpen. Romano said that he already found his throwing partner. If you guys didn't know, Matt Strahm and Jeff Hoffman were throwing partners for the last 2 years. They were very adamant about that. It was a very known thing. They had to catch every single day. Obviously, Strahm did lose his best friend on the team to the Blue Jays, but it seems like Strahm has already found his new throwing partner in Jordan Romano. Matt Strahm lost his good buddy and catchmate Jeff Hoffman to the Blue Jays, but has bonded quickly with Romano. And this is from Matt Strahm, once again, via NBC Sports Philadelphia.com. He says, "I got out here at the beginning of January, and Romano lives here, so he's been coming down. I think we've established something there." He says, "I think it was a unicorn experience for me, getting Jeff, who didn't like to play catch as much as I didn't like to play catch." He says, "I joke with Jordan that he's maybe 10 to 15 throws too much right now, but we'll iron it out." And then he goes on to say about Romano that his career speaks for itself. He's a closer, and that's special to be able to add a guy like that in your bullpen. He's been in big moments. He's an ideal fit for what we're trying to accomplish here. He says, he finishes off with, "I've been working out with him for a month, and he's a chill dude. Things are going good." So all things really going good on so far. Nothing crazy out of the first day at camp. No crazy, insane workouts, right? These guys are trying to get sort of back into the swing of things. We did get an update this morning on Taijuan Walker, one of the bigger names coming into this season. Obviously, he is making $36 million over the next 2 seasons, and after a season like Taijuan Walker had last year, obviously these stats right here, 19 games, 83 innings, a 7.10 ERA with a 1.7 whip, 24 home runs allowed to 58 strikeouts. It was about as bad as you could go for Walker last year. But Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thomson both said Taijuan Walker basically already looks even better than he did last spring. That's not saying Taijuan's going to be some ace this year, but the Phillies do have some confidence that Taijuan can maybe turn this thing around. This is from Corey Seidman from NBC Sports Philadelphia as well. He says, "Walker threw a bullpen session Wednesday morning to Realmuto. Rob Thomson, the Caleb Cotham, and the Phillies front office watched it very closely. Walker is a notable figure," he says, "in this camp because he's owed $36 million over the next 2 seasons, but no longer has a spot in the rotation and is fighting just to make the club as a long reliever. Walker has been throwing at maximum effort since mid-December and described his bullpen sessions throughout the winter as intense. His fastball is sitting 90 to 92 miles an hour compared to the mid-high 80s around this time last year. His velocity was very solid today," says Dave Dombrowski. "Much better today than it was at the beginning of last spring training by a great deal. His overall movements on the mound, the command of the fastball, I thought he looked so much smoother than he did last year, so much more athletic, and he's been a good athlete throughout his career. For whatever reason, it got away from him last year. I hope that he pitches like the Taijuan Walker that we've seen in the past. Then we'll have great problems and great conversations and see what happens. You can never have too much pitching, which is obviously something I think me and Sean Bernard say once a video on this channel. You can never have enough pitching. Somehow we'll figure it out. But he ends to say a good first day of spring training for Taijuan Walker. And I'll tell you what, that's got to feel good for Taijuan Walker because probably the worst season of Walker's career last year basically ended up with him not even being on the playoff roster, not really getting many chances at the end of the year. They sort of threw him out there every 5 days when they knew he didn't have anything. There was nothing really left to him last year. He was struggling. He was in his head. And it's sad to see because it's not like Taijuan Walker is some guy that everybody in the clubhouse doesn't like and goes on these big media rants. And he's one of the best dudes on the team. And he's been a class act ever since he got to Philadelphia. For the situation he's in, he could have sort of made this all about himself and basically tried to find his way out. But he didn't. He's been battling, and he worked really, really hard this offseason to get sort of back into the swing of things. Listen, if Walker's going to come back and give this thing a shot and he looks like a pitchable pitcher this spring, this Phillies team is going to give him a shot, right? He'll probably be that last guy in the reliever. I think we know the Phillies bullpen is pretty set right now, other than that last spot. It seems that the bullpen, as far as Jose Alvarado, Tanner Banks, Orion Kerkering, Jordan Romano, Joe Ross, Jose Ruiz, Matt Strahm, those 7 spots are basically locked in. It's really the matter of what and who will be in that 8th spot. And if Taijuan Walker does look good and does give this team some hope that he can pitch up to his ability this season, I believe they're going to give him that chance. Walker spoke to the media today after his bullpen and sort of after everything. And he said he was able to flush it up pretty quickly. He said to Tim Kelly about moving on from last season. And that's really the big thing for Taijuan. Because if you can't flush it and everything from last season still lingers, it's not going to be a fun road back. It's going to be hard, and you're going to keep getting the flashbacks and just everything that went on last season. The best thing for these guys, and really not just Taijuan, for everyone on this team, is for Taijuan to basically flush the whole season. But for everyone on the Phillies to flush the feeling of that Mets series out and remember what that felt like, but don't think about it, right? Don't ever want to have that feeling again. I don't think anybody on this team wants to lose to the Mets in the first round of the playoffs ever again. And I think that's going to be going into the back of their heads this year. Other than that, really, not a ton else from today. The only other thing we did here was a bit of some lineup things from Rob Thomson. He spoke a few weeks ago on the Phillies show and basically said that they are going to try out some new things this spring. It is not a lock that Schwarber will sort of be in that leadoff spot. I think he's probably one of 2 guys that could be there. I think the other option is probably Trey Turner. I would say the most likely lineup right now, I did see a lineup projection this morning from On Patterson's Tim Kelly, and this is kind of where I'm thinking this could go as well. If it wasn't Schwarber, I think right now a very good option would be Trey Turner 1, Bryce Harper 2, Alec Boehm 3, Kyle Schwarber 4, Nick Castellanos 5. I think moving Harper up and giving him some protection behind him, right? If you put Alec Boehm behind Harper, you put Schwarber back there, these guys are going to have to not just pitch around Harper. I think we've seen last season in the playoffs, if you had a guy like Harper in the 3, Boehm in the 4, if Boehm was struggling, these guys aren't going to pitch to Bryce Harper, right? Now, leading off with Trey Turner, you're going to have to pitch to Trey, because if you don't pitch to Trey, then you're going to have to pitch to Bryce right after him. And if you don't pitch to Bryce, you're going to have to choose one of Boehm or Schwarber, and you're probably going to have to pitch to both. So that is what I would say would probably be the other option. As far as the 6 through 9, I think that's a little interchangeable depending on the pitcher and just the day itself. But yeah, so that's basically it from spring training today. This has been a new episode of Phillies Digest. I am ready for baseball season to be back. I know all of you guys are as well. once again, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel and are watching, 23.4% of you guys watching are subscribed. The other 76% have not subscribed to Phillies Digest. Listen, we're not these hour-long podcasts where you get bored halfway through. We make 9 to 10 minute videos. We get you all the information, and then we move on to the next day. That's what we do here on Phillies Digest. For Luke Arcaini, this has been a new episode, and I will see you next time.